Reza, there won't be direct talks. Let's cut to the chase here. How will these back channel sort of indirect thing, how will it really work?
Nothing is clear at this moment, Francois. And we should point out here in Tehran, it's late Friday night. It's the 14th and last day of the 14-day New Year holiday that began in spring. So a lot of people are getting the news right now. And the reaction is muted because not too many people know. In fact, nobody knows what's going to happen next week. And simply put, at this point, no one's celebrating, no one's jumping for joy because Iran hasn't gained anything concrete yet. However, you could argue that this is perhaps the strongest indication yet that all parties involved in the nuclear deal, all signatories, are taking serious and concrete steps towards possibly restoring the nuclear deal, especially getting the United States to honor its commitments, and after that, getting Iran to honor its commitments. Briefly, let's tell you what we know, what's going to happen next week on Tuesday. All signatories to the nuclear deal are going to travel to Vienna, and they're going to have discussions there on the mechanisms, the roadmap, if you will, with which the United States will honor its commitments and Iran will honor its commitments and start again restricting some of its.
Right, so that's the modus operandi for now. The calculus had always been, Reza, we'd been told, okay, don't expect anything to happen until after elections in Iran, but could things go faster than we think?
I mean, indications are that for the first time since 2018, when Washington pulled out of the deal, that the Biden administration is serious about taking concrete steps to honor its commitments. And there's a lot of talk in Washington that perhaps waiting until the elections will make it more difficult to restore the deal. You'll recall during his campaign, the Biden administration has said he wants to restore the deal, that's his intention, but more than 2 months have passed since Inauguration Day in Washington, and nothing has happened. Now, again, this is the first significant step that Washington is willing to take concrete steps to honor its commitments, to perhaps lift some of the sanctions. Of course, Iran had said all along that they're not going to renegotiate the deal, that there will be no negotiations about the sequencing, the mechanism with which they would re-honor their commitments with Washington. And Iran's position was, it's simple. Washington pulled out of the deal first. Logic says they must come back to the deal, and then we will honor our commitments. It looks like what's going to happen next week, if all goes well, that the other signatories, especially the European powers, will play the role of mediator. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of questions. Will Iran and Tehran speak directly? The deputy foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, made it clear today that Iran is not going to meet face-to-face with Iran, that these will be indirect talks. And even though Iran says there will be no negotiations, make no mistakes, these will be negotiations. Even discussing the roadmap, the sequencing, will take some serious and often difficult negotiating, because both sides believe they have leverage and they probably don't want to give up all their leverage. Washington probably won't want to lift all the sanctions, and Iran, for its part, won't want to restrict all its nuclear activity the way it did back in 2016 when this deal went into effect. So a lot of questions remain. What's going to happen next week? Is it going to be successful? But again, the headline today is this is the first significant indication that all parties, especially the United States, are committed to restoring this deal back to the way it was when it went into effect in 2016.
Reza Sayah reporting live there from Tehran. Many thanks.